Hey, and welcome. Get this. What if the key to understanding economic booms and busts from centuries ago wasn't in some dusty old ledger, but was actually hanging right there in an art museum? I know, it sounds a little out there, but today we're going to dive into a totally fascinating new way of looking at economic history.
For historians and economists, this is a huge challenge. I mean, think about it. You're talking about a time with no official GDP reports, no quarterly earnings calls, certainly no reliable census data. So how in the world do you get a clear picture of what was really going on?
Well, it's kind of like trying to make out the details in a really blurry old photograph, right? You can maybe see the general shape of things, the long-term trends. But all those sharp, sudden changes, the big moments of crisis or, super fast growth, a lot of that just gets smoothed over, kind of lost to time.
Okay, so to solve this historical puzzle, we're actually going to start by looking at a pretty clever trick that economists use today. It's all about finding an indirect clue, something that we call a proxy.
So what's a proxy? It's basically just a stand-in. Super simple idea. When you can't measure something directly, you find something else that you can measure that's really closely connected to it. And trust me, this is an incredibly powerful tool.
So how do they put this into practice today when maybe they don't have reliable data? Well, it's pretty cool. To gauge the economic health of a region, they actually look at satellite images, specifically satellite images taken at night. And this just illustrates the whole idea perfectly. I mean, look at this. An area with just a few sparse lights, that suggests less industrial activity, right? Fewer homes with electricity, just overall lower economic output. But then you look at an area with this dense cluster of bright lights, and that just screams bustling economy. It's so simple. More lights means more activity. Simple, but wow, is it effective?
All right, so we've got this modern idea down, using light as a proxy for wealth. Now, let's take that exact same thinking and apply it to history. Let's see how this can help us unlock the past.
And this right here is the million-dollar question. If you can't look down from a satellite, where on earth do you look to find a similar kind of proxy for economic activity hundreds and hundreds of years ago? I mean, where was prosperity being captured, visually?
Believe it or not, the answer is in paintings. Seriously. European art from the 17th and 18th centuries, it turns out, is this incredible untapped reservoir of economic data just hiding in plain sight.
And the logic here is actually beautifully simple. It really just breaks down into three basic steps. Okay, step one, when the economy's doing well, people have more money to spend on luxury goods, right? And art is a luxury good. Step two, in those good times, artists could afford more expensive, more vibrant pigments, and their wealthy patrons, well, they wanted brighter, more colorful paintings. So that leads to the crucial third step. If you analyze the colors in thousands of paintings year by year, you can actually create an index of economic vibrancy.
So, what happens when you actually do this, when you apply this method? Well, you get a version of economic history that's way less like that blurry old photo we talked about, and a lot more like a super high-resolution digital image. So here's what they did. Using modern tech, researchers basically just scanned tons of paintings. We're talking from Great Britain, Holland, France, Italy, Germany, over a massive 220-year period. They literally converted art into data, measuring the specific hue, the saturation, the brightness of millions and millions of pixels to create a year-by-year economic index. Okay, and this is where it gets really cool. Just take a look at this. The middle column, that's what traditional economic history tells us. Notice how it kind of smooths things out. So for a major war, you see this sort of gradual dip. But now, look at the new color index over on the right. It doesn't show a gradual dip, it shows a sharp, immediate economic crash. And it's the same thing for political instability, even for things like major weather events. Stuff that was basically invisible in the old data now shows up as these clear, dramatic economic swings.
So the big takeaway here is this. We're not just confirming what we already thought we knew. No way. This new data is giving us that high-frequency view. It's letting us see the sudden, jarring economic impact of these big events really for the first time ever.
Now, it's important to be clear. This doesn't totally rewrite the big picture of European history. But it's exactly like upgrading your TV from standard definition to 4K. The main story is still the same, but now you can see all the texture, all the incredible detail, and the true impact of events as they were actually happening.
And look, this is way more than just some clever academic exercise. Being able to understand our past with this kind of detail, well, that has some pretty big implications for us today.
So what does this discovery really mean?
Well, for starters, it's a totally new, independent source of data we can use to check our understanding of history. It lets us feel the shock of these events in something that feels a lot closer to real time. But maybe the most important thing is that it gives us a more human-scale view of the past. It connects these huge historical events to something tangible, the actual art that people chose to create and live with. It proves that economics and culture, they're not separate worlds at all. They're completely woven together.
And ultimately, what that does is it gives us a more empathetic connection to the past. We can see so much more clearly how, say, a declaration of war or a big political crisis, that wasn't just a footnote in a history book. It was something that immediately and drastically changed the economic fortunes and the art of real people living real lives.
And that really leaves us with a final, fascinating thought. If economic history is literally encoded in the colors of paintings, what other clues are hiding in our shared culture, in our music, our books, our buildings? It just makes you wonder, what else is out there waiting for us, hiding in plain sight? Thanks for joining me.